Hi everybody and welcome to planning for the beginning of treatment. In that period from having had your oncologist appointment, seeing the nurse, and you know what's coming, so you've got a little bit of time possibly. Sometimes, you know, if you go with the date that they suggest, I had a few weeks grace. Sometimes you can be, you know, in there in the next 2 weeks. So just a few things that I went through during this period that I hope will help you. And I think, how can I make this experience as little, you know, as doable as I possibly can? There were a number of kind of categories that I looked at and started to work out what I needed to do. So one of the first things was around work and finances. So I knew I had so many weeks left of earning a decent amount of money. So I started to look at work and started to think about what did I need to do to help, what could I do while I was through treatment. And of course, I'm a coach and a trainer. I do a lot of work delivering in front of other people, and that was out for me. I could not go and deliver any workshops because of the risk of infection. So I started to think about how could I manage that if that went out of my workload. What could I do? So I could see that I could do one-to-one, I could do Skype calls. So I started to look at how I could work around that. And there will be, you know, later videos on all of these subjects in more detail, but work and finances was one of the first things I looked at. Macmillan Cancer Support is a great resource for any financial information that you're looking for, help, benefits, you know, support. I also thought about my appearance, so I knew that my hair was going to fall out. So I looked at the kind of ways of making myself look presentable if I was going to continue to work as well and go out or whatever. So I did a couple of things. I had my hair cut short, so I had long bob haircut. I cut it short so that when the hair started to fall out it would be too upsetting. So I cut my hair. I had my eyebrows microbladed because I felt that if I lost my eyebrow hair, at least there would be some sort of a semblance of normality on my face. So I had my eyebrows microbladed. I would suggest that you think about that sooner rather than later, because there are issues with going into chemotherapy. So, you know, make sure that you get that that appointment booked. I booked a wig appointment using the vouchers that I was given by the breast cancer nurses. And I started to think about exercise and diet. So I started to do a lot of research and looking and reading about what would help me through chemo. And I found a great book by an author called Jane Plant, Your Life in Your Hands, and the Plant Programme, both written by her, which I started to look at and read. And we'll talk about that in a later video. I also just started to do more exercise. I got back to running as soon as I could, increased my walking, just wanted to make sure that I was fit as possible before I went into the treatment. I booked a little holiday with my husband. We had the chance to go away on our own because both our children were away on school trips and school and holidays with friends. So we went away for a few days just to get some time on our own and have a bit of a break. And I would just suggest you try and book in as much fun as you can, just to sort of enjoy the not thinking about anything and just being with your friends and your family. I had my 50th birthday during this time, so I had some lovely events booked in, dinners and parties and stuff like that, which was great distraction and really nice to be with your mates. And on the friend thing, I set up a WhatsApp group with all my closest friends, all those people that I talked about right at the beginning of these videos. I put them in a group and I called it the support bra. And that group is still going now. I keep them updated, and you know, if I need anything, I put it on that group. So that is something else that I did. And of course, there were other things that needed to be booked in for your cancer treatment. So you need to go and have an ECG, so that gets booked in for you just to check your heart's healthy. And you also need to get your PICC line fitted. Also, to make sure that you've booked in to see your dentist, to make sure your teeth are in a good state before you start. And I also booked to visit my GP just so that she knew what was going on, and that she was there for an additional support if I needed to speak to my GP. I haven't needed to do that, but I did do that, and that was a bit of advice from the Complete Guide to Breast Cancer. Another book that was useful during this time was Victoria Derbyshire's diary. I quite liked reading a real-time experience, and I looked at her videos as well. I think that is about it. There's quite a lot of just using those weeks to work out some stuff.